The English Channel, once the moat that kept out Napoleon and his invading navy, now little more than a welcoming watery turnstile for the world's freeloaders. And no one, absolutely no one, can stop the boats. There is no politician, no leader, no saviour who can stop this. Why? Simply put, it is the law to allow unlimited asylum seekers, refugees, and single migrant men into this country. It is the law of the United Nations, and this country's leaders willingly signed up to that law. Do any of you honestly believe that the likes of Nigel Farage and Ben Habib are going to defy the United Nations? The fact is, the United Kingdom has shackled itself with UN, treaties, and conventions. We signed away our sovereignty decades ago, and now we're paying the price with our homes, our hospitals, and our very sense of self. It all began with the aftermath of the Second World War, a cataclysm that displaced tens of millions and left Europe a wasteland of rubble and regret. In 1951, the United Nations created something called the Refugee Convention, a document that defined a refugee as someone fleeing persecution because of their race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership of a particular social group. This treaty wasn't just a list of definitions. It granted real rights to refugees. Free access to courts, the right to work, new identity documents, education for their children, the full bureaucratic embrace. Now this sounds perfectly reasonable, doesn't it? Giving basic human rights to our European cousins who had just survived the horrors of World War II. But throughout history, people have always found ways to exploit goodwill. And today, the United Kingdom is being taken advantage of on a truly global scale. But the true serpent in the garden is the principle of non-refoulement, that grand, unyielding vow, thou shalt not return a refugee to a land where their life or freedom would be threatened. It's the cornerstone, the keystone, the albatross around our necks. And this is exactly why the boats will never stop, and why no politician will ever dare challenge this sacred vow. Because they literally can't. In a saner world, it might have been a noble safeguard. In our world, it's the flashing green light for every opportunist on the planet to rock up on Dover Beach. The original UN Refugee Convention, remember, was a product of its time. It only applied to events occurring before 1951, and mainly in Europe. Then came the 1967 Protocol, that generous United Nations sequel which ripped away every limit. No time restriction, no geographical restriction. Suddenly, anyone displaced from Sudan, Syria, Afghanistan, Eritrea, anywhere, could claim the exact same protected status as the freezing, starving survivors of post-war Berlin. The United Kingdom, ever the obedient global Boy Scout, signed it without a whisper of protest, without debate, without a single question. And so here we are, shackled by a 50-year-old ink on paper from Geneva, watching the principle of non-refoulement twist itself into an absolute veto on any serious border control. Turn back a boat. You can't. Because that would supposedly condemn them to serious threats. It's a doctrine so ridiculously elastic, it now stretches from genuine terror all the way down to the mild inconvenience of a slightly bumpy return ferry. Now, add into the mix the European Convention on Human Rights that we signed in 1950, specifically Article 3, the ban on inhuman or degrading treatment. This article has been stretched and twisted by wealthy lawyers into a deportation-proof shield. No expulsion if there's even the slightest hint of risk back home. And this risk has now been expanded to include everything. Substandard healthcare, mental well-being, you name it. Yes, you heard that right. If your heart murmur might go untreated in Damascus, or your diabetes left unmonitored in Mogadishu, the European Court of Human Rights can rule that deporting you would amount to degrading treatment, even if you're a serious criminal. And the mental well-being part. If someone claims that leaving the UK would simply make them unhappy or cause them emotional distress, that alone can be enough for courts to block removal and label deportation inhuman treatment. All of this protected under the banner of human rights law. So let me break this down simply so everyone can understand. Here's the loophole that is used by the human rights lawyers. The human rights lawyers that are very well funded by the state itself. If someone came here as a refugee, or even entered illegally, they can't be sent home if they say two simple things. Number one, my own country has worse hospitals than the UK, so sending me back would be cruel. Number two, going home would make me sad or depressed. And that's it, no deportation. Say those words, and the European human rights law says Britain cannot deport you, even if you've committed serious crimes here. So bad healthcare back home and saying I'll feel unhappy means that you get to stay forever. That's the loophole that will never be closed. So in conclusion, let's face up to reality. The refugee boats and the endless flow of illegal migration into the UK will never stop. The lawyers and the courts will always step in to protect these migrants, shielding them under layers of human rights laws that make deportation nearly impossible. No politician can truly halt this tide. They might shout promises from the rooftops claiming they'll fix it, but they're lying to us all. They can't deliver, and they know it. Remember what happened to world leaders like Saddam Hussein and Muammar Gaddafi. They dared to oppose the United Nations, and look where it got them. Overthrown, hunted down, and eliminated. No UK political party leader would ever risk that by standing against the UN. They're all too spineless or complicit to even try. Sure, flying flags, attending marches, and joining rallies might feel like a burst of patriotism. But let's be real, it won't stop the invasion or stem the flow of illegal migration one bit. It's all theatre, while the real decisions are made elsewhere. It's time to wake up and realise the harsh truth. The United Nations has already sealed the fate of this country, and no politician can ever save us from it. Stay alert, protect yourself and your families, and accept that this war has been lost.